Already today's video challenge the deposit stealth, no safe cracking, extra cameras, and hidden UI. There's no safe cracking, but that's hopefully not going to be too much of a problem, since hopefully we'll be able to interrogate at least one guard and maybe both guards to try and get, well, the code to crack the safe. But aside from that, there's extra cameras which will make luring much easier and slightly more difficult. And then there's always hidden UI. Can we please not mark the building across the street? And then, well, as for hidden UI, it's just a matter of kind of guessing how close we are to getting caught, which doesn't sound that great, but it's vaguely working, so let's not question it too much, shall we? Because we're going to get a keycard, unbelievably, which I shall not question because it means that I will no longer have to use the scrambler to actually rush downstairs. Not that I necessarily had a problem with that beforehand, since we could very safely do it, especially since we didn't actually lure a camera so far. But I mean, it is nice to have a keycard, and that's definitely a nice thing. So we're just gonna go in here. We're gonna clear this room, and well, it should be relatively simple from here on out. But of course, we're gonna need to interrogate the guard, which will presumably go well. And we're gonna get a combination which makes things so much easier later on. And because we can, we're gonna hack the cameras. Is it a good idea? No, absolutely not. Anyways, you put your hands up, and we're gonna run across to hopefully finding the other guard, which is not over there, which means that this is very, very concerning, since the guard might very well walk through here in a moment, which will not end well, but we could always leave this bag over here, and maybe they'll walk right towards it. Or they could just run across over there, and we're gonna have to go take them out, which works out as well, I suppose. So we're just gonna knock them out, and it's gonna go just fine. We're gonna leave that guard be, since there's not really a reason not to, and then afterwards you can go upstairs and find the other guard. And by other guard, I mean the other camera operator, which there's not an employee over here, which makes things much simpler. And so far, we're not being caught by a camera. So we could always do that, go in here, and I mean, there's a safe over here, and it's open now, since, you know, we already interrogated for that, but nonetheless, we could just hack the cameras over here, go back outside, and then figure out what we're gonna do, since the manager is very much long gone. But I mean, we could always do something that's very, very tempting. Not that I think it's a good idea, but we could always go over here, we could always lockpick this and see what happens. I mean, what could go wrong, right? I mean, well, that could happen. But then again, if the manager's gonna go upstairs, that works out as well. So I mean, if you could just walk slightly further down and just not get caught by anyone, that would be absolutely fantastic, since we can just interrogate you, and that should make things relatively simple. But first, actually, never mind then. I suppose Cyber's gonna go ahead and try and hack Maddox Gray's office. Which works fine by me, since it works, and we're gonna get... Did that guard just jump through here? Never mind, we're not gonna question it. We're just gonna go over here, Cyber's gonna be hacking it, and well, that means I'm gonna go downstairs first, and just get the door open to see if anyone comes downstairs, or if that guard's gonna cause some problems, which... I mean, both ways it works out just fine, so... We're gonna open this, we're gonna open this, and then we're gonna hopefully have enough sprint to run all the way back through here, and then afterwards see if the guard's all the way over. Well, I mean, that works perfectly fine. It's just a waiting game now, so we could always just wait here to get a code and open the door for Cyber, because of course. And then afterwards, we can just go in here, breach that, or more accurately, just disable the transformers, open this over here, and then afterwards, grab the intel, grab a bag, and then, excuse me. Right then, we're not gonna question that, because we didn't actually have anything else in our inventory, but for some reason we couldn't pick it up. But we're gonna grab the cash, and we're just gonna awkwardly stare back at the guard, which is completely oblivious of what's happening, which is absolutely hilarious. But we're just gonna go through here, all the way through here, and since we're not really pressed for anything, or at a risk of, maybe not, at a risk of getting caught, we could just go through here, run out through here, and no one's gonna care. At least that's kind of the hope, so we could always break that to make things worse. But regardless, that's the daily challenge, and it's just under 4 minutes and 35 seconds. And just 1 second under. But regardless, cheers everyone, have a great time.